gentlemen, welcome to, I think it's 175. For some reason, I want to say it. I want to feel it.
There was once a time when we seemed to really care what episode number it was. And
we just put so much content out there, you know. But it is 175. I just checked.
175. That's a cool number. Right?
Yeah, that's a great number for Jessica Jones. Actually, the Netflix series usually always seem to be on some sort of, like, really, like, I think Luke Cage was, like, on a 50, or not a 50, like 150, something like that. Like, something good, soming
I feel like,
big.
Is that true, or are you just kind of whipping that out?
I think just Luke Cage.
Okay, fair enough.
But, you know, it's what you gonna do. But yeah, this is your weekly GeekVerse episode. I guess we should introduce ourselves. Yeah, I am Travis Snail, aka Travis Bombshell.
That's pretty good. I like that.
I stole that from Riverdale.
I have not watched Riverdale.
I don't know if that's a Dylan Musk
am the long lost optimist, Dylan Musk.
I have heard you use that.
I used that once
before.
Once, last week, 2 weeks ago, sometime on a recent newscast.
So we got Jessica Jones. We're about to review it. We've both binged it. We're going to do non-spoilers feeling review. Oh my god.
This show, it kind of let's just say the pace has kind of dwindled my mind a bit as a quick precursor. Okay, well, before we get into the actual show, we have lots coming up. Dylan Musk, because I'm promoting live. Like, what do we got coming up next week? Let's test you. Next week is a movie review, is a thing. I don't know what's going on. I'm lost. Tomb Raider. That's next week. Right? That is next week. I thought it was 2 weeks from now. Nope, that is next week. And then after that is what's it called? Man, this is not good. My mind is. The week after that is Pacific Rim 2, which Taylor and Ruban will be. I thought that was next week, and then. Yeah. It's okay. I give them the ball, and they always drop it when I do that. That's all right. I don't use a calendar. Pacific Rim 2, they'll be doing a review, so that'll be your weekly episode. Then the week after that, there may be a Ready Player One review. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, let's do it. Confirmed here first. Let's do it, and then next week we got a twofer. You got 2 episodes of GeekVerse. We're doing the Tomb Raider, but also I think Tuesday we'll be doing a newscast as well. I'm not sure if that's yes. I know for sure video games. I'm not sure if there'll be a movie newscast. I'm not sure if they'll be combined. We're just kind of throwing darts at the board right now. Nintendo's give us some ammunition, so we gotta go ham. Yeah, I guess they did. And then, what else we got coming up? Next week, huge gauntlet match. I don't know where this tickled throat came from. Put some in your drink. Next week will be... So I haven't taken a sip yet. Will be Taylor versus Jessica versus Kirkland in a 3-way dance, a triple threat. A little bit of a dance. A 3 for all, as one might say. They're playing Halo. I don't remember what Halo they're playing. Halo 4. Halo 4. So go watch. Not the 4th Halo, but Halo 4. My wolf brethren is going to just eat them all up, like meat off the bone. It's good. It's good. I think I think that is about it. I haven't seen those guys in a while. They gotta come back soon. I gotta talk to my bro and see what's up with them. I'm really curious what happened to those guys. I would really like to see them. After Justice League, they've been quite hiding, you know. So yeah, I mean, even they can't really defend that one, can they? So Jessica, was that a Defenders pun? Was it? What did I say? I thought you said something about defending, and then you went. I don't know. No. I didn't do it intentionally. I think we're both off a little our games. No. Off a little bit. Let's start. Let's just jump into this. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Jones is back. Season 2. Season 2. Much anticipated. It was very good first season, I'd say, as far as we really liked it, but critically, it was well received. So I think there was some anticipation for the season. She's coming off Defenders. What did you think, non-spoilers, and we will get you into the spoilers in a second. Right, well, my thoughts are a little bit scattered on this one, and especially with these Marvel shows, you know, there's so much to break down, it's kind of hard to put it all into one word, but I guess what I'd say is that it definitely didn't reach the heights for me that Season 1 did, really at any point, I don't think. There's things I really like about this, and particularly with some of the characters, you know, like Trish and Jessica are phenomenal, I think, as well as they were in Season 1. And character Malcolm, who I wasn't really a fan of in the first season, I actually really enjoyed this time around. I think they used him really well, and he seemed a lot more purposeful. Some characters didn't really reach it for me. I'm not going to... Without spoilers, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that for now. You always do that, but I think it would be not a spoiler if you just said this person's storyline didn't work. Well, let's just say some characters that maybe weren't in the first season. Oh, okay. But... Okay.
So Kingpin. No,
Kingpin, yes. I think once again, the first season I think it's really strong. Kilgrave really helps, but there is some problems with it. One of them I think was pacing, and it didn't need to be 13 episodes. They could have taken the same content. Maybe they could have cut. When I first watched it, I was like, you don't even need Malcolm. Like, think of a way to not have that character, make the show a bit shorter. I'm glad they didn't do that now because I think he's a lot better in the season. But I still think this could have been shorter and maybe should have been. And it's not even that, like, with the storylines they chose and the directions, because I like the idea of a lot of these storylines. I just felt like they dragged them out a bit too long. Maybe, cut some scenes. I don't think any of the characters were unnecessary like I did in season 1.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, it wasn't necessarily the path I maybe wanted the show to go, but I was still, whatever. I kind of deal with the cards I was dealt, and that made so much sense. And yeah, it ended up being, I don't know. I don't really know if I'm disappointed yet. It's a show that I don't think I'll ever need to really watch again. But at the same time, it's kind of good for the characters. I don't like how it doesn't really give a shit that Defenders happened. That's completely irrelevant to this show. So, I mean, maybe it was written before Defenders came out. I'm not really sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Yeah, I don't know. I think over the course of this review talking about it, I usually kind of come to my senses and come up with a more unified thought process. But for now, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit let down, for sure.
Okay, so I got an analogy. I have an analogy here.
So classics.
So yeah, it's a classic Travis Brennan Snail go-to. So, oh, what a great night! What a great night. So, Jessica Jones season 1. Let's say the pacing of that was like when you wake up in the morning and you gotta work at 9 and you look at the clock and it's 8:45, like, oh fuck, I gotta rush to work. People, and let's say it's a good thing you want to rush to work. I know one person that loves rushing to work, but that's the only person I know. So let's just put yourself in their perspective, the person that loves to rush to work. They love that.
In the shoes of an anime fan.
I don't think they watch anime, but they have a pen collection. So.
No.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately.
They legitimately.
Who is this person? Do I know this person?
I don't know. That's confidential.
Might be the person with the pen in their hand.
As someone might, yeah, the pen. So let's say you like rushing to work. Okay.
I'm already having trouble with this analogy.
Stop. Just put in your perspective that you like rushing to work. Okay. You get an adrenaline rush from seeing, man, I only got 15 minutes to get there. Let's go.
That's my superpower.
Jessica Jones season 1, I felt was like that, where it did feel like it was a rush to work, that things were moving so quickly, so fast, at such a good pace. Think like twist, turn, character development. And other than, I think, when you talked about those last few episodes, up until that point, it felt like it was just you were rushing. You were moving at a mile a minute, but you're rushing to work, but at the moment you found a $100 bill and someone gave you a lollipop, and then you bumped into Santa Claus. Like, all this great stuff's happening while you're rushing to work.
As it were.
And yeah, that's where it's like, it had this very fast pace, but it still got you there. This season, this felt like when you go to work, you go, oh, I work at 9, okay, work at...
Is this a different person that I'm putting my shoes in the feet of now, or...?
I'll ask them this question once I do the analogy, but maybe it's the same person.
They collect rocks instead of pens or something.
Yikes. So let's say, oh, I work at 9, okay? And you get there, you wake up 8:30, oh, I got enough time, I'm doing great, I'm going to work, blah, 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 I hit the bus, that's good old Travis Snail, hitting that bus, I get there, and then when you look at the schedule, and you walk in and people are kind of looking at you like, why are you here, and you look at that schedule, you go, fuck, I start at 10. And you gotta sit at work as a bus person, let's say your car's elsewhere, or you're just stuck in the fucking mall. When you look at that and you go, oh man, I work at 10, I gotta kill an hour at a place that maybe I don't like, a place that I don't like, and even if you do like it, it's still like you have to stay at work for an entire hour before your 8-hour shift starts.
Yes.
Not that good.
No.
And that's what this season is. It is just waiting to start to work this season.
I wonder if this analogy is biographical, but in any way.
It's maybe happened to me as a bus person a few times, but that's what it felt like. It just felt like
I haven't had a tickle in my throat all day. And now that we start casting, that's how it goes.
The season is so messy, and it's so all over the place, and it's so slow. Storylines that should take a few episodes take the entire season, and we're just like, it's so monotonous, and like I will say, like, without spoiler, like, the villain is a huge problem, especially from the first season when we had Kilgrave, who was arguably maybe one of the best characters in the Netflix world, right?
Yeah.
Where this villain or the antagonist or whatever we're going to talk about is nowhere near that. So there's never any pressing movement where you feel like we talked about this when we were chatting on Facebook chat. Like
that was very helpful, therapeutic for me as I was going through the show to have Travis there, who had already watched the whole thing in the first night, to bounce some questions off of and just general thoughts.
I didn't feel any drive to keep going other than, one, we're going to review it, but two, I like the things, and that's the thing, it's a big disappointment for me, but I still like things about it. You already pointed out Jessica and Trish were phenomenal. Trish for me is a standout, the same way Jones was the first season. Trish is the arc she has, and then there's multiple characters she has to play, which we'll get into spoilers, but just multiple, not characters, but like just her character is going through so much, and you see her develop, and the actress does a phenomenal job, Rachel Taylor, at doing it. Krysten Ritter is great as Jessica Jones. She still just knocks it out of the park. The supporting cast, I like Malcolm the same as kind of before. I think I do like him better than last year. Hogarth's good, but I just kind of felt sometimes during the show of what's the point? And I think we do get some good moments and some good character development. I just think it should have been much shorter, or honestly, like, it sounds bad, but just a bit more interesting. I do feel like Jessica Jones actually grows as a character.
Yeah.
It's just the story that she was in. It's just I wanted a different reason for her to grow. You know.
I think I'm conflicted because I really enjoy a lot of the ideas that they were going for.
Yeah.
It's just the method that they went about them. Like you're saying, should have been more interesting. As simple as that sounds, it is that simple.
Defenders, that's not a thing. There's multiple times in the show where it's like, it's not a spoiler, but it's like, hey, Iron Fist told Daredevil
or something.
But he told him like, hey, watch my city. It's like, where the fuck is Danny right now? There's a lot of shit going on, like, but no, it's just like he's somewhere looking on a rooftop talking about his chi. I don't know, but and then for non-spoilers, for overall ranking, this is pretty close to Iron Fist for me, which I liked Iron Fist, but that was the reverse, where I knew going in, like, people are saying bad stuff about, so I went in with low expectations. Where this, I did not go in with high expectations. I told Dylan, I think probably since season 2 or season 1, of like, once Kilgrave's out of there, like, it's gonna be tough to follow that up, and I think that was a big problem. Kilgrave does come back. It's not a spoiler. They promoted that. Yeah. I think it's good, but not good enough. Like,
it feels like they're just trying to play on your nostalgia a bit. Like, hey, you remember how much you love this character? He's back. You love this show. And like, it's not really a story or anything. It's just kind of there for an element. I think it's cool, and he's awesome. I like the character, but it still doesn't feel like he really needed to be there. And they just kind of put him there. Because that's one thing with the villain, or the antagonist, the opposition in this show. I felt like they hit it so on the head with Kilgrave that they didn't really want to follow that up with another villain like that, so instead they went a different route. And I respect that to a degree, but at the same time, you did it well last year. Do it again.
And that's one thing I'll applaud them for. They definitely take some risks, and I don't think it's like to the level of Last Jedi, but I think it's one of these things where, because I usually don't, but after I did, because I saw that it was reviewed pretty well, Jessica Jones, and usually before a review, I didn't watch them, but I read a couple of people that I trust and whatnot, and it's generally positive. So for me, and then I've read some fans that are, I think, more like us, so I think it's going to be similar to, you're either going to like these risks that they take and certain things they do with the characters, or you're not. I think there's things they do good with Jones and Trish, and even Malcolm. I think Hogarth, no, not at all. Huge risk, I feel, the storyline we'll get into, and I'm not a fan of that. And the villain, I applaud them for what they're doing. Like you said, they went a totally different route. Yeah. But I think the route kind of led them to a ditch, and then they crashed the car, and it took multiple days to get out of that ditch. And then
they never an explosion on the highway.
They never really did. They never really did. And you're just kind of, you look at season 3 and you're like, well, we're gonna get a new car, so hopefully that one's nice and it works. So, thanks Taylor. Awesome thumbnail. Good casting, you guys. All hail Iron Fist. We're literally, Taylor, only in like 10 minutes into this review. You don't know. He probably just popped in, said that, and left.
Hi, Taylor.
Go back to your fucking vacation resort where you look like a Bond villain. Do you have anything else to say before we get into the spoilers?
I guess in terms of, like, should you watch this show? I mean, if you like the first season enough, or you watch other Marvel shows, I think give it a watch. I would say if you are going to check it out, at least watch like maybe 3 or 4 episodes before deciding if you're going to finish it, because as a quick spoiler, I hated the first episode. I thought the writing was awful, and I was confused. I even messaged Travis, like, is this the same writers? Like, what is happening? But that did change after the second, or partway through the second episode. I think it did get better from there. So I would at least watch a few episodes before deciding if you want to finish it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know if I would like really recommend it as
it's not like season
an individual
1.
show. Yeah,
I would only say watch this if you're
if you're invested in the characters.
If you're in deep to this whole Marvel thing, you're a comic fan, obviously you're gonna watch it. If you're on the fence, if you really like the first season, I'd say watch it because I still feel like she has the birth null effect where it's like no matter what she's doing, she's charismatic. Like I'm referring to Jessica Jones, Krysten Ritter, like she's always good to watch. So it's like that's the thing. Like the show for me was still good at times, and I still enjoyed it. It's just when you compare it to the first season, which I think was on par or just a little below Daredevil, is like at that time the best one.
Yeah,
it's kind of tough to say, and it sucks because Iron Fist was kind of all right. Defenders I think was mixed. I definitely liked that a lot more than everyone else. Punisher I think was a high point, but then now we're kind of Jones like and honestly Luke Cage is coming up, and I'm not the most thrilled about that because I really like Luke Cage, but I don't know. I don't know. I still feel like them and Iron Fist just need to be together. I don't know if we need them to have separate shows.
I mean, that's what I feel like the point of Defenders is that you introduce these characters to each other and really make a cohesive world, and then you can kind of interwove them between each other, and that's kind of what I'd like to see more of.
Yeah. It's a minor spoiler. You see Foggy, and
I am
that's
curious
all
if
you
this
get.
show... Yeah, that's true. I am curious if like this show not having any connections with other characters is because maybe it was planned or filming before Defenders was finished. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I hope to see them do that more in the future with connecting these characters and worlds. Even if you just bring like a minor character, like obviously Foggy might not be the most exciting character to bring over to another show, but bring Colleen Wing over, Misty, pop off over in Jessica Jones. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Let it happen. I mean, we get to see Turk again as a quick spoiler.
Fantastic.
Always love
He needs more to do. We just need Turk, the series.
I want him to be in every season. Just doing something. He's always just selling drugs or moving weapons. I don't know.
Yeah. So, spoilers?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. If you have not watched Jessica Jones Season 2, we are going to be getting into spoilers. So, I don't know where to start because I don't want to sound super negative Nancy the whole time, but all the places I want to start are bad. They're either Hogarth's storyline...
Let's get that one out of the way. Let's talk about that
one. I think Hogarth's storyline is the prime example of what we've always complained about with these Netflix shows, that one, they're sometimes too long, and two, not every side character needs a storyline. And like, I get it, I understand you want to give this character this thing, like this, I guess, development, but I wasn't really looking for that from her. And for me, this season reminds me very, very similar to like the last few seasons of Dexter, when it was kind of a mess. Like that's what when it's like, oh great, I have this 10-episode arc of Batista and what he like, why his daughter is so important to him or whatnot. It's like, or his sister. It's like, I get it. I like Batista enough. I don't need him in this whole thing. And that's the same thing with Hogarth. One thing I will applaud them before I strike them down again is that cop, I can't remember his name. You just watched, what's the cop that Jessica Jones, Chutsky, or the one that's always kind of looking out for her?
Costa,
yeah. I liked that because I complain about this Punisher. Every time we get like a Dexter-like show or this type of show, they always have to have this cop, and I gotta get so much in there. Like, I like that where to me I got just enough to understand his motivations, and he was around. To me, that was... Hogarth was a little bit more than that, but I didn't need so much to get, hey, she's had a storyline where she's dying and we gotta see her in like a midlife crisis and go, like, I don't need that. It ate up so much time.
It really did.
So much time.
The scene, it's not, there was a lot of scenes, but the scenes as well just seemed to like drag on. Like sometimes they would just, in editing normally when you'd cut like the extra 30 seconds at the end of a scene, they just didn't, and they just let them play out. And I don't know, it seemed like a bit counterintuitive at the same time towards the end, because I guess the development is that you come into the season, Hogarth is, I don't know, she doesn't really give a shit about a lot of people. She's kind of greedy and self-centered and brutal. And you see that, and then as she, is kind of experiencing death or loss or something, a lack of connection in this world, she's kind of becomes more human, and you see that she has like a heart. But then it's kind of like at the end, it kind of just goes back, and she's still like savage as fuck, and just like, oh yeah, fuck you, you're my old, like I worked with you guys, but now I'm gonna blackmail you. And it kind of just, and then when she like, I guess blackmailed the other girl that she was housing to kill that guy. Like, I guess it kind of feels like, well, what was the point of that whole storyline? Because she's still kind of the same. And yeah, she did go through a bit of a story, and yeah, she got fucked over by these people.
But does she not deserve it? Like, she, like, I don't know if you recall, but at one point in season 1, they had Kilgrave locked up. She let Kilgrave out so he could just go, like, fuck, like, she's getting a divorce from her wife, and, like, they made some sort of deal, right? And it's like, she put many other people at risk, so it's this thing of, like, I don't know, like, she's kind of a shitty person.
She is the epitome of selfish and stuff.
Yeah, so, and for me, I never feel bad. Like, there's, like, I won't spoil it for you because you don't watch Game of Thrones, but there's a big thing with Cersei where people are just like, oh, I feel so bad this happened to her. It's like, no, like, shit things happen to shit people, and, like, why do I gotta feel bad for them? And sometimes I hate when shows, like, I felt like they tried, same thing with Jessica helping her out throughout the show. Like, I thought they almost tried to retroactively make you forget, like, oh, she did some really shady shit, you know? It's like, I don't need this, and that's when you said, what's the point of this all? The only point I can see is if in season 3 she is the villain of the season, and then it's like, okay, she was kind of a shitty person, got a heart, like, you know, villain, like, what was that, I know, what is the heart of gold? Asshole the heart of gold. There's some expression, something like that heart of gold. But either way, she was maybe turning the corner, and then something even worse happened to her, and then she has, maybe a few years left to live. One person said, 8 years or something like that. So then she's just like super evil. I can kind of get past it then, and I'll see in season 3 because then it's like, okay, they did this big arc to set her up, she did say they're gonna do something illegal, but I don't know, is that actually it, or is it just gonna be her doing more shady stuff? Because if it is just her doing shady stuff, then this thing was completely pointless. She could have got that same point where, okay, they could have made a smaller storyline of someone that was screwing her over, and she just like had enough, and she's just gonna do something. Because we don't even know what she's really doing at the end of the season. She's just like, oh, it's illegal, and you can't talk to Jessica. It's like, that doesn't help me.
I have a feeling she might, just based on like a couple of conversations she had in this season, she might show up in like Iron Fist and have some impact on that show. So I don't know whether or not that's a good choice. That's for you, the viewer, to decide.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm a big fan of that personally. I think one of my problems with her storyline is that it has like very little crossover with what's actually going on in the rest of the show.
So
they kind of like introduce
secluded.
it. Yeah, like at first it makes sense. She's kind of like housing Inez or whatever her name is. She's staying at her place. But then Jessica Jones and crew kind of just forget about that person. She's just at the house, and they don't really need her anymore, so she's just around, and then some other shit. And then it just becomes
they like fall for
completely
each
the story
other.
with Hogarth. Yeah, then they like make love, and then she gets backstabbed. And then I guess the one other time that really connects later on, in a few episodes later, is when Jessica Jones like warns her that these people are lying to her.
But that's it.
Yeah,
like that has no big, because when originally I thought this healing guy was going to come to play, and I thought, okay, maybe they'll need him at some point, Trish will get hurt, Jones will get hurt, or I thought, oh, is that the way they like help her mom, is like, does he heal her brain or something? I don't know, but I'm like, okay, that's how it is going to come all together. She breaks this healer guy out, and at some point they need to use him. And then when they conned her, I just felt conned as a viewer as well. I'm like, man, this thing is leading to nothing. Like, it's just Hogarth's journey. Like I said, if you really like Hogarth, that's great. I like her enough for exactly what she was in Jessica Jones season 1, and even then, like you said, Jones, it was more integrated at one point. Like, it felt like she was vital to the piece where every once in a while it's just like, oh, give Hogarth a scene with Jessica to remind them they're in the remind us they're in the same show. Like, I did not like any of it. I like Hogarth as a character.
I think acting wise, like, she really plays that role really well, and just like those really savage moments where she's like, "You're useless," or "You're wasting my time." Like, I find it funny because it's like the delivery is good.
And I was sad when like she got home and all her stuff was bad. I felt bad for the character in a sense, but at the same time it's like, well, yeah, but this is just kind of karma coming around. But like, that was good. And then the weird thing was that happened and she was gone for like 2 episodes. And then she just like...
I don't think she was ever fully gone. I feel like she was in every episode.
Okay, maybe she was. But I just felt like that wasn't talked about for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then she was just poof. Like, we got back this. And I liked the setup of she lied to them. She made her kill the guy. And she's going to go to jail. So, like, that was good. It was a great payoff. But really, it wasn't... The journey wasn't worth it.
It's what you were saying earlier in that storyline... Like, the entirety of that storyline could have happened in, like, 3 or 4 episodes, and with just a few minor tweaks and pacing and, you know, if there's other storylines going on.
Yeah.
But instead, it's,
like, this whole back and forth of, oh, I'm going to steal your shit, then I'm going to throw it on the bed, like, I'm not stealing your shit, then I steal your shit. It's like, oh, boy. Now, here's something that might be a positive and a negative, and I'll tie up the villain thing. So, like, we'll talk about the villain in a second, but I wanted to shout this out. How did you feel about the flashback episode? Because I feel like that's going to be an episode, because it's very similar. There's an episode, you haven't watched it, in Stranger Things too, but there's a similar thing where we're going one way, and then it's like we clearly take a break from the show, and then we're back into it. How do you feel about it?
I think I was maybe not necessarily expecting it, but I'm kind of used to it, because we had that in Luke Cage as well, and we've seen, throughout a lot of these shows, a lot of flashbacks, so I guess I'm kind of used to it at this point. And I mean, the vibe I was getting from this season, and one of the reasons I wasn't a big fan of the direction they're taking it, is because it kind of felt like regressive. Like, instead of pushing the character in this world forward, they're just like going back into her backstory more, which, I mean, it's good and it is well developed and it does add to her character, but in the end, I still genuinely want to see things move forward. So I guess the flashback episode, I think it does help answer a lot of questions and set stuff up. And I actually really liked seeing Jessica and
Trish.
Yeah, Trish. And what they were like at that time. And I thought that was interesting. So, I don't know. It's hard to say because this whole season's pacing was a bit off.
Yeah.
So I guess that didn't seem particularly jarring that we spent a whole episode in the past. So from that perspective, I liked it. But still, I mean, we haven't really talked about the villain yet. But I didn't really like the villain a whole lot. And there's a lot of the villain backstory and development in that episode as well. So... some of it, I mean, as with every episode, every single episode, some of it feels like a slog to get through and just quite drab. And that episode is no different, even though I like some of its story points.
Yeah, I want to ask that because that was my favorite episode of the entire season. The only reason is just because I liked seeing Jessica Jones not be really Jessica Jones for a little bit. Like, she actually was emotional. Like, we see her cry in that episode. Like, I liked that a lot because she was more emotional. I'll give them that near the end of the season. But up until that point, we've not really seen that.
She's very stone face.
I love the Trish stuff. I want your cray all day. I love, like, she's just a snotty little brat, teen pop star. It was phenomenal.
She plays it very well.
Oh yeah, and they're back and forth the whole time. Like, you can tell they love each other, but they get on each other's nerves, and I hate that they do these things. Like, she hates that she's this teen star that doesn't give a shit, and she hates that Jessica's just kind of like this semi-bitter bitch who doesn't... Yeah, like, and it's great, but, you know, they're with each other thick and thin. I think the villain, that's the thing... I was actually interested in that episode. Like, there was the big reveal before, and then this, and I was like, okay, I'm liking this. This was the first time I was like liking the facility stuff. And then after that, I don't know, I didn't end up liking it, but I liked the relationship she had with Sterling as well. I don't know, like, I think it was kind of cheesy that she could just stole everything from him, like Alias and the leather jacket. Like,
he had quite the profound effect on him.
He did, but like I think they only knew each other for like a few. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't
like
say
a month
that.
or two.
I guess I shouldn't say that. You don't know what can happen in just a few months.
It was cool because it showed that, I mean, Jessica lost her family when she was younger, and then she sort of had a family, but it was a pretty fucked up family, one with a lot of problems, and, you know, a pretty awful mother. So having someone to trust and I guess rely on and live with and feel like family, because she mentions that as well, is that you feel, you know, or he mentions that, either of them do.
They were the only family we have
now. They feel like family to each other, even though they haven't known each other for that long. And I still feel like it made sense, and that you have to keep in mind too, she was, I don't know, she looks the exact same, but she was younger at that time. Shorter hair, completely different character.
And I think it helped. They had pretty good chemistry too. Whoever, like, I've never seen this guy. I don't think in anything.
He actually reminded me a lot. Like, I thought he was the brother of the guy in Punisher who plays like the best friend guy. His face and like the way he spoke. At first, I had to do like a double take. I thought it was the same guy. I was like, what is this crossover?
What is a crossover? But yeah, so I really like that. Now we get the villain, because I liked. That's what I mostly liked about the villain, was I liked the tragedy of, okay, she's been asleep for 5 years, and I liked seeing that progression of she's just upset, she gets really angry, she starts killing people, she's looking for a daughter. All the character stuff made sense, I think, in that flashback episode.
Yep.
And then in the episodes like before, we didn't get too much. She was just kind of like they just kept saying a monster, right? Everything like that.
And we'd only seen like the flashbacks of like the Deadpool looking creature.
Yeah. And then, so that was all right, but we didn't really get much there. It was just kind of like a no-name villain, or no-face villain, right? And then, so that happens, and then we get the whole mother reveal, which also we're going to talk about, and then after that, it was this weird wishy-washy back and forth of like, I'm going to lock you up, I'm not going to lock you up, we're going to do this, we're not going to do this, you should lock me up, you're not going to lock me up, we're going to send you to the raft. No, we're not sending you to the raft. No, we're going to kill her. No, you can't kill her. Like, it just felt like it'd be like, okay, one episode we're going to talk about we should do this, and then the next episode we're going to talk about how we should not do this. And then the next episode was a new issue. Yeah. But like, it, especially when she got arrested in like episode 8 or 9, I was like, that's when I knew this show wasn't, like, the season wasn't turning around to become great, because I'm like, where else is this gonna go? And I felt it was really boring. This whole like, I don't know. I guess Jessica kills the guard, and I get it, but I wasn't that interested. Other than I felt like they did it just to get Kilgrave to come back and talk to her, And
that's fair.
I don't know if it was that warranted. I just don't think I don't know. Like she does not kill multiple people all the time. I get that she was mad. Mm-hmm. She was sprayed in the eyes, but I don't know. I just felt like they just used that. I felt like we had got past that point where Jessica knew she wasn't a killer anymore. And I thought that was the difference between, hey, my mom's a killer, I want to try and change her, and I'm not a killer. I get it. They're trying to make the whole season about like, I don't want to become her. Mm-hmm. And I understand, but technically you shouldn't really be able to become her because you have these powers and you're kind of a little off, both of you, but your mom is clearly much, much more off than you are. I thought it was a lot of generalizations, and the villain, I thought, and I don't think you'll agree, I thought the actress did a good job because I thought they were trying to make her seem unhinged.
It felt a bit cheesy at times for me.
Fair,
But what I really thought was well done is that she felt like a fish out of water. She felt like a lost experiment, which is what she is, and I think that was portrayed well. A lot of times she seemed like just like there's that one scene where she's just walking through New York, and it's like in the Big Apple, so there's all these people around, and she just like feels like she's like dizzy or something, like she can't really handle like all these people. And I don't know, I like that she was unhinged, and you couldn't really tell what was going to set her off, or I guess what she would do when she was set off. So I really like elements of it. I think once again it just comes down to pacing and like the surrounding stuff that was going on. And what I really loved about that storyline actually was the stuff right near the end with her and Trish, and that kind of battle for Jessica's trust and who is her family, or what does it mean to be family, or who does she trust, or who will she go to in time of need. And I felt like that part of it was really short, but that stuff for me was the most suspenseful throughout this entire show, because most of it was just so slow that it really was hard for me to get like emotionally invested in a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
At moments there was like little glimpses, but that stuff for me was the most interesting because I didn't really know what was going to happen. I didn't know if either of them would die. I mean, I guess it would make sense for her mom to die like at the end of the season because she's the quote-unquote villain. But I still felt like those two in particular, might be because Trisha's performance was so outstanding, but that stuff was really interesting to me, and I don't think we got quite enough of that, and we instead got a lot of what you're saying, running around back and forth, or this is the idea, but then we're going to go back. Once again, it could have been done in less episodes if you chose to make it a little more focused.
Big shout out, because the Raft is a prison that they locked them all up in Civil War, so she was going to go there. Like, Okay. I was thinking about this too. It's just like a joke of like Kat breaks these people out, and her mom's there. He's like, "You must be wronged too. Like you come with us," and just this fucking loose cannon.
She just kills all of them. She's actually
takes Thanos.
She's with Thanos the whole time.
What an experiment! But no. So, and then so the Trish thing one I just got pointed out. This has nothing really to do. It's just pet peeve. I hate scenes where so what's his name? Actually, Carl.
Carl.
Was it Carl? He kills himself. At no point does Jessica or Trish say this to her mom as she's trying to kill Trish. Like, now, and I'm fine with them even being like, Jessica Jones says that, and then she goes, "You're lying." That's all you need. I hate that they don't even throw it out, because what happens if you threw that out and she's like, "Oh,
it's more likely that she'd be like, "I don't give a shit, you did it anyway." But at least try. That's something worth trying, right?
And that happens so much in movies and TV shows that they just neglect to say something because it needs like that the tension.
It's the classic. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, how did you feel about the mother thing?
Like the reveal that she is the mother. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said earlier. I kind of wish the show had chosen to go in a different direction. Mm-hmm. So.
Because we kind of got the origin story of Jessica Jones in season 2 instead of season 1. Like, it was kind of like a backdoor origin story in a sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't.
I liked. I feel so split on the mother character. I think more often than not, I wasn't really that invested or liking what was going on between them, or just generally the dialogue. I like some of the aspects of the character, but it just. I think it's just because it's so drawn out that that's really what takes my interest and just splits it across so many episodes that I kind of just lose interest, or I found myself like drifting, or struggling to pay attention. I don't know. I guess I feel like there's so many movies lately. I mean, I know it's always been like this, that just focus on like this family element and how this is like it's that unbreakable bond, and it will make characters do things that they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
And I guess I just feel like a little out on that. I mean, obviously we review and talk about these things all the time, and I feel like we are reviewing so many movies lately that are just talking about these families.
Especially Marvel.
So exactly, so many Marvel.
Civil
things.
War,
I kind of
Ego.
just want to move past that. So we're back there again.
I think it ended better than it started because I liked their little road trip sort of thing. That was kind of fun.
I think the last. Actually, I think this is pretty common for Marvel shows, where like the start is kind of interesting and then the middle kind of slows down a lot and then the end kind of picks it up. I think this show's a bit different because I think the start is slow as well. Yeah, Luke Cage I guess kind of doesn't fit that mold, does it?
Cottonmouth's gone and then it's like, ooh, we got a long 12 episodes or whatever it is. Yeah, Cottonmouth should have been the
Yeah, what do you think of the mother? The choice of going with the story.
I kind of felt it was coming. I didn't make a full-on Travis told you so prediction in my mind
before the season,
before the reveal that it happened. Just because they were just being so shady with her, and it's like there has to be a reason. Anytime they're stressing, hey, who is this character? There's always going to be a big thing, right? It's not like when Kilgrave shows up. Hey, I'm Kilgrave, this is my power. You get a story right away, right? When it's just, you meet this girl in a bar and she's shaky and she's not telling you everything. That's where it's like, okay, she's connected to Jessica somehow. And it's like, Jessica has only had her family we've known about in the show, right? So unless we're introducing someone else, like an auntie or something like that, then it's going to probably be the mom.
Yeah.
And then, I think it was good because, it made things of like, it did make sense for Jessica Jones to bring her to her house because this person's a fucking loose cannon who she's seen will just literally rip people to shreds. But okay, it's your mom, so you want to try to give her the benefit out, you want to save her. So I do get that, even though there was times I still think a little bit that Jessica Jones waited a bit too far. I don't know, just because they made her such a monster at the beginning of the show, it's like, you gotta lock her away. Like, even when she was just even thinking about not locking away for a bit, it's like, we know how this is going to go. So that's where there was no tension there. And just the whole villain overall, just because she was the mom, and like I said, I applaud them. They took a risk. It was not... There's antagonists, but she's not really a villain. Like, she
feels like a villain for some episodes, but other episodes it doesn't, right? So it kind of wavers back and forth on the line.
Which I think is cool that they tried something different of this kind of... Almost like a will they, won't they, but with the villain. Like, is she or is she not? Can she or can she not be saved? But the problem is there's... The other posing threats are, you got Carl, who's the exact same of, like, one episode it seems like, oh, he's a man who tried his best and just screwed up, and then the other one's like, no, he's a fucked up guy, and we never really got that answer. He's just like, I think he's
I still don't really understand why he killed himself.
I think because he saw Trish and he was just like, this is just never gonna work. But I feel like none of his
I feel like he loved the mom character enough that he... What is her name? Eliza? I found myself not knowing that, actually. I think it is Eliza. I heard in the last episode, but I found all my notes I took were Jessica's mom. Jessica's mom. It's very inefficient to write that, I must say.
Yeah.
But I what was I saying? On Carl.
We're talking about Carl, yeah. Because my thing was you had him, and then you had Chang, and this thing you had no.
Oh God, Chang. What the hell? Man? What's the point of that character?
This is why I will say, and some people don't like it, so that's fine. This is why I liked Daredevil season 2 because it had like the mini arcs of you had Punisher who was kind of the villain for a while, you had the Hand who was kind of the villain for a while, and then you could have Elektra and Stick who were opposing threats, not necessarily villains, and that's where I felt. After the reveal of the mother happens, I feel like for a solid 4 episodes, we're just meandering and like, okay, what, like, I get it, the struggle is what am I going to do with my mom, but then to me there's nothing really else moving the plot forward other than, okay, Chang for some reason decided he's just going to fucking sharpshooter, like, take out Jessica Jones. I get he's military trained, but like I did not get the sense at all he was just gonna fucking kill her. Like, and to me that just felt like, well, we need an action scene, we need something. Like, that's a problem. So much stuff in the show felt like
there's very little action.
The Kilgrave stuff, it just felt like instead of it having to happen because that's the way the story flowed, it was like, okay, we need an action scene, we need something to pick up the plot.
This is a show with superheroes.
Yeah. Okay, here's Chang. I'm like, oh, we got David Tennant for like a week. How can we get him in? Oh, this. And I think they had the best. I'll say that for Kilgrave. I think they had the best intention with some of these things, but the execution was just not that entertaining to watch at times. Other than if I didn't like these characters, then I really would just not like the show. But you see them in certain things, and you're like, okay, it's not the greatest, but I'm watching this great character. But the villain, and like whatever, the anti-villain even, like, I applaud them. I just wish it ended up better. And the other thing I will point out is we kind of did that with Kilgrave. We started with him being big and scary. There were a few episodes where Jessica tried to make him good, right? And then she just kind of realized, hey, he's not going to be, like, he's not
too far gone.
Yeah, they lock him up, which happens to her. She gets locked up, and then he breaks out and he's more evil than ever. Like, it was kind of the exact same thing, just with a different skin, you know? And that's where it was like, she's no Kilgrave, so try something new. And they did, trying to make her, she's definitely not as evil as Kilgrave, because it's kind of against her will, the thing she does, I feel. Like, she can't control it, but I don't know, we got something new, and I didn't really like it, and then it was mixed with a lot of old stuff. So for me, there was just nothing, it was just nothing there.
I think I didn't love the character of Carl. I think he was used sparingly, so that maybe kind of helped in a show that seemed quite slow in general.
And I didn't know what he wanted.
I still don't feel like his story like fully made a lot of sense. I don't really understand why he killed himself if he loved her and could have made a difference. I still don't really understand why that was the case, and I don't know. I felt like they never really went in on like a decision for what they wanted that character to be or to make any like big decisions. He was just kind of there as like I guess sort of like a plot device in some ways. I like that he, had various band shirts like Grateful Dead and The Doors and Led Zeppelin.
Trying to make him a hip doctor. But even for me, the scene where Jessica like called the cops and they were coming, I felt it was super weird when he's like, I'm going to stay. Okay, I'll go. Do you want me to go? Should I go? I'm going to go. And it was like, I don't know, what is this conversation that's happening right now? And then she's like, just go. And he's like, I'm going. And he locks her. And then I'm like, I guess that's it for him. And then he's just kind of hanging around New York, and we bump into him, and like
he's just kind of like a goofy guy. But they just kind of forget about him with the plot.
Yeah, and then Trish obviously digs him up, and then like I guess he was used for that because obviously she has her powers now. And that's gonna be a big thing we'll talk about later. But yeah, and then you had Chang, who I don't know, he was just there. I like
that. It's Chang, and it's the neighbor character for me that really made this show have a really slow start.
Oscar?
And it already is.
Oh, fuck. We're really starting with negatives right now.
Well, if you look at those, like, the Chang, like, the storyline in general, I just felt like it was such a tiny issue that, like, Jessica would have to deal with that I just didn't really find myself too invested in. And that's the same thing with her getting evicted. Like, I don't give a shit if she gets evicted. It's not like this place has any sort of like value. It's just some crappy little apartment. She can live anywhere and it won't make a difference to the show.
Alyssa was the mom's
name. Yeah.
Well, and the Chang thing, there was just times where I get it. He like pushed her buttons, but when she beat him up in his office, I didn't really buy that. I bought like the punch, but I didn't buy her like beating him down. And I feel like the other thing I have to point on this show, and I know it's a superhero show, and I know we gotta suspend our disbelief, so I get it. I feel there's way too many times Jessica did stuff that she was not going to prison for. Like, she cannot just beat the shit out of Chang and all this other stuff. Like, constantly, like, the time when, in the very end of the episode, when she has that meeting with Oscar, and then she literally just takes, like, the fucking table and hits a cop. Like, I don't care that it was, like, it was against her will. Like, there's some things where she even should do, like, 3 months for, or something like that. Like, I know they do that thing where she goes to therapy, but, like, she didn't even do that. She broke the thing. She got mad. It was, like... for me, I never feel any stakes because I never feel like she's gonna get arrested, go to prison. Like, that was the other problem.
They kind of play off, the fact that she's a hero, and the cop, Detective Costa at one point, talks about, that moment when Kilgrave had all the cops with their, guns to their heads.
Yeah.
And how, I guess, much of a hero she is that she was the one that killed him. But that's really only mentioned once. Like, it never really feels like society or the cops in general like her, right? They're just kind of annoyed by her, and
there should be a limit. You can only do so much before they kill her. And the thing,
especially someone who has powers, and if you don't, check in on them, they could do some really bad shit.
Yeah. So, and then one negative I really got to point out before. I got two more. I got a few more. So I'm sorry, but like this one I'm pointing out before I forget. I'm so fucking pissed. One, because he could have had a huge role in Daredevil season 3. Simpson, because he becomes Nuke in the comics, and the storyline they're doing for season 3, he has a big role in that, so I thought they're setting him up. I was so excited because in none of the trailers we had seen that character appear.
So I kind of forgot about him, to be honest, and I don't even really remember what happened.
They just took him away because he went super nutso. I think they chained him up, and then when they came back, he was gone. And those doctor people took him.
Okay.
So I was super excited when they show this hood figure. They show his face. He has this fucking drug gas. I'm like, this is great. And I liked it right away too. They subvert your expectations that you think he's shady and bad. This whole time he's been trying to protect Trish, and then they just kill him. They just fucking kill him off screen.
The first 3 episodes.
Episode 2. Episode 2.
Okay.
I loved Simpson. I really liked that actor. And last season, I thought he had a fun arc with Trish of this regular cop that Jessica saves. So it's he's a do-gooder. It's oh no, he's taking these drugs and he's fun. He was all over the map. And he, to me, just added something to the show, like a spice that was a good side spice, like something like we talked about the Hogarth thing that wasn't neat. I was really interested in his story last year when he was going through all this stuff, and when I saw him, I'm like, oh, they've kept the secret. He's gonna have a big role, and they kill him off screen, and I don't know where he could have used him, but I much would have rather one not be dead in episode 2, and just
it doesn't really make sense that they included him at all, because his storyline in this show is that he's doing drugs, he's kind of crazy, but then he just dies. So it's like, well, why then did you not kill him in season 1 when that was already what he... he's kind of the same guy who's kind of just, once again, regressing to a character that we've already seen or development that we've seen. Why not kill him in season 1 for more dramatic effect instead of, teasing the idea of this?
Like, where has he been?
Or why not have him not at all in this season and just use him when you actually have an idea for him? Because you kill him off and, just like you, I felt like no emotional attachment to that. I don't even know if I was really disappointed that he was dead. Because I just don't really remember the character a whole lot from the first season.
It just felt like they're like, oh yeah, we have this character from last season, we gotta bring him back, we have nothing for him, let's just kill him. And I guess if the writers, they did it so they felt that was best, but I just felt like for a character that was a pretty big substantial role at some parts in the first season, just to kill him off like that to me was like another sign of like, this isn't going good.
Since he's a character from season 1 as well, and one that we already have seen development for, you don't really need to spend the time in this season to, set up anything for him. Like, we don't need any more backstory on that character.
You saw him, you knew right away, like, oh, this isn't good. And then, like I said, I like the idea of even if it was like a few more episodes of him protecting him back with Trish, especially because Trish is like in this place where she's in this relationship, she's happy. They already talked about like, oh, she dates a bunch of dicks and blah, blah, blah. Like, and then in that moment he gets killed, Trish looks really upset about it. It would have been fun to play that over time of like Simpson's protecting her, but he sees that she's with this guy who's like really good for her. Maybe that could be a thing. I just feel like there was so much more to play, and we end up getting Hogarth stuff, and we end up getting Chang stuff, and that's where it's like the time where we did spend in some areas of the show could have been spent, I think, better elsewhere. And Simpson's a big case because I just think I have that image of him with his broken neck, and I'm just like, that's all we did with him. And now every time I watch season 1, I'm like, oh, this is this character that they use quite a bit. It's just like, oh, it's just so
he's essentially just a tool to introduce this drug to Trish, and that's his entire purpose. Which feels very undervalued for for a character that we spent like a decent amount of time with in the first season, and was interesting just because of the surrounding characters, Trish and Kilgrave, and everything that goes on with him.
I got one more negative, and hopefully we're getting some more positives. And this isn't even a huge negative, but let's talk about Oscar, the new love interest. Actually, I'll start with you because you weren't the biggest fan of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, correct?
Luke Cage, like the character in Jessica Jones.
Yeah. Not or did you like him more? I couldn't remember. It was one or the other.
It's hard for me to remember because I've only seen the show once. As a love interest, I think I liked him enough, but it's kind of like even with Luke Cage, his own season, I haven't really fallen in love with that character yet. I actually did like him more in Defenders playing off the other people, but still I'm not totally in love with that character yet. But I think it's a really good decision having him in the show as like Kilgrave was using him as like muscle. I think that was well done at least.
So then how do you feel about Oscar?
Well, I think it had a really awful start, a really unnecessary start. Once again, the eviction storyline, totally unnecessary. Doesn't feel like it matters at all.
The whole stuff with this kid in the window too. That's another thing where it's like she could have just said, "Hey, I saved your kid," or "She saved me," but he doesn't find out about 2 days later. Like, "Oh, Vito told," or whatever. What was his name? Vito or Vesta?
Vito, something like that.
My son told me what you did, and I really appreciate it.
Jimmy.
Little Jimmy.
Well, so one thing that
I was like,
it was a bad start for quite a while. Is that the thing? He was like, "Can she stay and give me a bedtime story?" Like he was way too old for like the things that were expected of him as a kid. Like,
and I didn't really
out of place.
And I didn't really understand why he had such attachment to her, because the whole show, they really...
I understand the attachment, because she's just super, right?
But they played really loose with how many people knew that, and to what extent. Because sometimes it felt like everyone knew she killed Kilgrave, and then other times it felt like a rumor. Like, I still don't know what the world knows about Jessica Jones. And if the world knows this, why the fuck isn't Nick Fury of the Avengers there? Like...
That's true.
And when her mom breaks out of jail, I get it that it's like, okay, these are lesser powered beings, but not even the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show up to this shit. There's fucking a superpowered woman who just roaming around New York.
I've accepted that we're not going to get crossovers between the movie and TV shows for a long, long time.
I don't think it's ever happening now.
Ever? Wow.
I don't think so, no. I think once I got those X-Men and Fantastic Four back, they're like...
Right, they don't need to delve into the TV show characters.
We don't need Oscar
and... weird drama. We like action over here.
We don't need Oscar and Little Jimmy and Avengers 6, like, whatever. But, yeah, terrible start. I don't know why. Maybe, ladies, tell me if you agree with this. I think it was super misogynistic. So, they have the scene where I think it's kind of good where they're drinking together the first time. And he gives her a bottle of liquor for saving her son, and they're getting really flirty and whatnot, and they start making out and everything like that. And she goes to sleep with him, and he
goes to the button.
Yeah. And he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, this is not how things."
He like stands up, takes a few steps. What are you doing? Yeah. It's very overdramatic.
And he literally says the line, "This is not how things work." That's how things work all the time. People hook up like that all the time on a drunken night. And he's like, "This is not how it goes." And then literally the next episode, they're talking again, because my son, he went to his mom's. They're talking again, and he makes the move, and then they have sex in his fucking pain and everything like that. So all I got from that is, because she made the move, he's like, "Oh no, I can't." And then the next night, because he never really explained.
Oh, and then when she wakes up and he's just painting a picture of her, I was like, dude, that's fucking creepy. You don't just do that.
And when she walks away,
it's a nice painting.
He's just kind of oh, but my problem was he never explained. I'm like, okay, so there's a scene where I didn't buy it, but okay, he didn't sleep with her, and then the next scene he's gonna talk about why she's better than that or blah blah blah. That doesn't happen. They just fuck in the paint. He never told me.
In the paint?
They do fuck in the paint. Of course, it's purple. I was really hoping that. I thought that's where Kilgrave was gonna pop up. I thought she'd see the purple and not do it and get flashbacks. But he never explained why did he just bug out? We're not doing this. It made no sense. And then the next time it just happens. I don't know. So the entire first thing of Oscar, the first 8 episodes of Oscar.
That's true.
It's not good.
Quite brutal.
I think it gets a little better at the end. I like that. And he's more of a symbol of, okay, she's striving towards, it ends with her joining them for dinner, right? So it's okay, she's going to try her best
and before that, too, the mom tries to take the kid and go away, and then she, hops in and saves him because... Yeah. And that kind of shows, a reflection of what she was maybe as a kid and how she wanted that kid to grow up in a better world or something than she kind of had. So try and save him or fix that situation.
And I will give them that because some people brought up, and I think it was a valid thing of season 1 and Defenders with Jessica Jones, that it was great, but you didn't feel like she changed as a character, which can kind of be true. I could find some differences there, but at the end of the day, at the end of season 1, she was back to drinking and doing their detective stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Where at the end of this season, it did feel like she was different, and it did feel like she didn't answer
the landscape of this world of this show has changed.
Yeah,
for sure.
She stopped talking about Kate there's phones, and she ignored it. She went to dinner and everything like that. So it felt like she is trying to make this life happen. It's gonna take something big to get her back into that old life of season 3, which I think that'll happen. And I don't know. I think their chemistry was fine at times, but there was nothing where I was like, man, I'm really rooting for these two, the way I was with even just her and Sterling, which I knew he was not going to exist because the second he has Alias and Jack, I'm like, well, okay, clearly something's going to happen. Same thing as the Trish's British boyfriend. I'm like, well, this guy's too good, so either he's going to be evil or he's going to die. I was completely wrong, but instead of dying, they just she just broke up with him, so it's fine. Yeah. But I don't I don't know if it was a writing thing. I don't know if it was an actor thing. I don't think it's a thing where it ruins the show. As far as if they're dating next season still, I'm gonna be Oscar and her. But it's one of these things where it's it didn't. First impressions are everything. And for me, this Oscar Jessica relationship didn't have the greatest first impression. So I'm kind of on the fence about how I feel about moving forward. Because I know next year too that kid's gonna get kidnapped and taken, and they're going to use that kid as a plot device, and that's going to happen. And that's how they're going to break up. Your life's too dangerous.
Life's too dangerous.
That's my Travis Told You So prediction.
It just didn't feel like a storyline that really needed to happen, and I guess, his character, what he does for the story is, he makes a few fake IDs, so in that perspective, it makes sense to have him around because he fills that niche.
When you heard that, did you feel like he was going to help Jessica out with that at some point? Because the second I heard that, I'm like, oh, they're gonna need him at some point. Because it's the same.
I don't know if I did immediately.
Okay, I did because
I think I was surprised when it like happened multiple times. Like it was like a reoccurring thing. Yeah.
The reason I knew it was gonna happen because of the Claire effect. Because Claire's never been in a season of an entire show where someone doesn't bring her to the doorstep and she has to play doctor. You know, like I'm fine with her being a nurse or a doctor at work, but like give me one season where she doesn't have to patch somebody up. Like this can't happen.
Now they're done with her.
No.
Claire. Well,
she's in season 2 of Luke Cage. Remember, they're dating.
I'm just joking because of like how little impact she had in Defenders and the
Fair
fact
enough,
that she wasn't in this show.
Yeah.
Because this is the first season of all these Netflix shows that she's not in, right?
Punisher.
Right.
But Punisher, I don't really count because Punisher just feels so off by himself.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but like this is the first of the Defenders crew that she's not in. So. And Krysten Ritter did say that they're not planning on a season 2 of Defenders, that the plan was just to do one. So.
I did see that, yeah.
And it feels like that's kind of the vibe where like I'm kind of getting. I don't know if it just wasn't as successful as they wanted. I don't know also if it's just a budgetary thing and a time thing because...
I think budget is most likely an issue.
Yeah,
there.
and I think time too because you kill all those other shows. They're all together. And that they could look at it. Let's say if Defenders, even if Defenders was as successful as Daredevil... Does that not hurt them because they can't go make, a Daredevil there and a Luke Cage there? Like, they have multiple of these shows except Defenders. So that could be it. And the other thing is, too, I just think it's time to get all 4 of these people and all these people together. Kind of tough. I do say that I hope in the future, if they do anything again, if they are worried that, the TV show, too much time, I think they should just do, like, a 2 to 2.5 hour movie of just, like, a fun adventure. We've already had the setup where they know each other. I thought that's what they were going to do originally.
And even like you can set up the villains like they did with the hand.
Yeah.
Set them up with the other characters. In the
Bring the hand back.
Bring the hand back. Oh, we need more of them for sure.
No hand in this season. So there you go. Like I know there was no Jessica Jones like in the first one, but
she
still like
a hand person.
I'm kind of like Iron Fist is the test. Like how long is the hand going to be going? And I hope it's quite a while. I just need. Yeah. I'm down for them to come back one day.
It was a fun time.
I just need a.
Didn't have a great ending, but it was a fun time while it lasted somewhat.
Do we have anything more to say about Oscar?
I don't think I really do. No. He's a pretty basic character.
And overall. I didn't buy that they hate each other either. When he's just like, I just don't like you. It's like
at first.
You guys. Yeah, it's just like you guys have had a few conversations. I get it, but like, I don't know.
I'm not really sure how I feel about him coming back. Eventually, obviously, he will.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I like that or dislike that. I guess. I mean, they gotta add some more depth to him. He's like I said, a pretty basic character. So I'm not sure what they're gonna, if they're gonna have a flashback episode for Oscar to tell us why we should be interested in him.
No, yeah.
I really hope that's not the case. But
I think
as it stands right now, he's a pretty everyman. He's kind of nothing too out of ordinary. I don't know if he has much room in the landscape of these shows.
Yeah, well, I guess
he's not going to be fighting people with super strength.
He'll be in Defenders too. They'll just put all the characters, side characters together.
Him and his son
throwing paints at people.
Throwing paint.
Has some paint accident where their paint wants.
He knows what colors of paint are going to trigger like PTSD things in these characters.
Oh boy. So yeah, I think it's just more of a symbol for Jessica, and I guess we can start talking about positives. I like Jessica Jones as usual. I think Krysten Ritter is great. I think the standout was when it's her and Trish together, to be honest. They have great chemistry together. I do think the character does grow quite a bit, and I think the ending shows that she's trying to grow at least, so I value that. I thought, actually, acting-wise, she was better than the previous seasons just because I think they asked her to do a bit more. Like, she had to show more emotion, where I thought in season 1, it was pretty much, she was either worried, witty, or just like an asshole, and that's kind of the same, but she showed a lot more in this one. I'm trying to think. It's tough to say because I feel like I'm gonna downy her. We're in Marvel Retros where we just write Downey off because he's so good, but I can say that she delivered and she did a really good job. Yeah. And I'll be excited for season 3 just because it's more of her. I'm not necessarily excited as far as, like you said, the landscape's changed. I don't know where that's gonna be. I don't know if this is. I kind of hope it's similar to, like, once again in Dexter, there was this whole season where there was like this religious killer and they just kind of ignored him the next season. They never really talked about it again. I kind of hope that's the same thing with this mom of like, it happened, let's move along, like
I hope they push the show forward. Yes.
Where does she go from here as a character? Because obviously something has to bring her back in that world, right? So like what, like we're trying to predict a show that's probably a year out.
Trish. It's got to be Trish, right? And Trish having superpowers.
Yeah, but
maybe being crazy.
I don't think Trish is going to be a villain. She, as far as comic book wise, Hellcat is a comic book like side character, like sidekick. Like she is a hero.
Do they reverse each other? Probably.
I'm not that well versed in Jessica Jones, so
they probably do verse each other at some point.
Everyone
maybe in the odd issue or something.
I think they'll have like a Daredevil Punisher butting heads story, not as intense as those two did, but maybe that will bring her into it. She'll want to protect Trish, but
it's got to be through Trish, or Malcolm has something that he needs her to do, and I mean obviously I don't think those two characters are going to be mad at each other forever. I certainly don't want to see a season where Malcolm and Jessica Jones don't interact for an entire season because they're off doing their own things.
Well, everyone's mad at each other though. Malcolm's talking to Trish.
They are, but it's not going to stay that way. So
you hope.
There'll have to be some. I don't know. Moving forward, there'll have to be some issue that can culminate the three of them together again.
Yeah.
And maybe some other characters as well. I agree though. Yeah, she's standout like the whole way through every line pretty much. I mean, the first episode was pretty brutal, even from that character, in my opinion. The whole first episode, I was like really scared at what I was about to watch, but it definitely sharply went upwards after that. But yeah, I'll agree with like the emotional scenes, like that scene at the end when her mom gets shot in the head in that Ferris wheel. She nails that scene, like just completely lost and crying, just has like the blood on her face.
And she nails her interaction with Trish in that moment too, because you don't know how she's going to react. And even the scene with Trish at her apartment feels really strong and really good. The scene where she's just telling her like, oh, like I just see, like anytime I look at you, I just think about you're the person that killed my mom, and it's done great by both of them. They're fantastic, and
I love to like we already kind of talked about the flashback episode, but she really did feel like different in there. Like she's a different person. Like
so did Trish.
That scene when she's like just to prove a point to Trish, she just like rips off that like ATM door and just like takes all that money, and then she just like feels kind of like disgusted with herself, or that she lost control for a minute. Like you can really see it in her face, and I think she is definitely better than she's ever been before. She's just really zoning in on that character, and every character. That's where the mother character, the villain. While I wasn't a big fan of it, I think it is really solid, like padding for that character's backstory and her development.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm split, right? Because I really like Krysten Ritter and Jessica Jones, and any scene that she's in, I'm interested or curious as what's going on. So even if it's a character that I'm not super interested in that she's interacting with, she just kind of elevates it completely. So yeah, those scenes when she is with Trish or with Malcolm, who I liked a lot more, super fun, excellent, and those are the scenes that had me captivated. And she really displays a variety of emotions.
Well, then I'll talk about the standout for me, which was Trish. I said that earlier.
The big Trish.
Yeah, phenomenal. Rachel Taylor, I have a small pass with. Not that I have a small pass with, but I wish. No. I definitely had a little crush on her after. I was trying to look for the movie. She was in the classic, I think it was WWE's. Oh, was it? I think it was their first movie called See No Evil. One of the wrestlers was playing a murderer.
Is it with John Cena?
No, Kane's in it. You don't know who Kane is, that's why I'm not going to get into it. But
See No Evil is what I was...
very nice.
They should make that movie.
She died by swallowing a cell phone. He's forced cell phone and everything. But I even liked her.
It happens to the best of them.
Yeah, I even liked her in that. And then last season she was really, really good. And she is easily my favorite supporting character in any Netflix show. I'm pretty sure. I'd really have to think about it, but I can't think of anybody else. Like, you got your Karens, you got your Foggies, you got your Missy Knights, you got your Colleen Wings.
She certainly surprised me in season 1.
Yeah, so she was good. And then this season, I thought she was phenomenal. One, as far as just the writing stuff, I like that we got a bit more in the past as far as she at one point seemed a lot like... Season 1 played kind of fast and loose with how famous she really was. And at the beginning of the season, I didn't believe that she would be in magazines or articles, like people talking about her, because she's just like a radio show host, and she used to be a kid star, right? But then obviously we saw, she had like a big, like who knows how big it was, but a singing career at one point. I think she had a hit song at some point, right? I Want Your Cray Cray. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that to be my ringtone. But I love that they talked about her addictions and struggles with it here and there, but we really got to see it in that flashback episode, and that's why I like it, because she did seem like a different person, and I bought the turn when she's talking, when her and Jessica are having that conversation, and Jessica, I can't remember the exact line, but she says something like, I just don't want you to die, or something like that, and you can see the realization of like, okay, I have to change this, and really I can't wait to watch season 1, because she kind of gets addicted again, right, because she started taking those pills of Simpsons to help along, so I'm excited at some point to rewatch that again. So I felt her backstory is really fleshed out. I bought everything she was doing, because we see her, and that's why I loved her in the scenes, because we see her at like very, very happy with the British guy, right? And then we kind of see her start to doubt herself in her entire life. We see her life plummet. We see her become a junkie, pretty much. And then we see her become obsessed. Whoa.
Obsessed.
We see her become obsessed and driven to become a superhero, get those powers. Like, she wants something more in her life. And then at the end, we didn't see much because she's kind of in a hospital bed. But we get that great scene where she kills her mom. She makes that sacrifice for Jessica because she said to her, like, I would do it if I could. So, like, if you think about the chunks, and if, like, obviously it's 13 episodes, but, like, 4, 4, and 4, I feel like in each 4 of those classes, she's going through different stuff, and she's constantly changing. Where I think Jones is great, and I think she does change, but I think her changes happen a lot more rapidly at the end, where at the beginning, she's kind of still herself, and in the middle, she's just processing a lot of stuff, right? She's trying to figure out, at the end, I think we really see her growth, where Trish, I feel like, is growing the whole time, where I thought she was really happy with this guy, but then she realized that, hey, I thought I was going up there for an interview, and when I turned it wasn't, and it was him, I wanted it to be the interview more, you know, and that's matched with who she is, and who her mother is as well, how she was raised, so yeah, she was phenomenal, and I'm very excited to see her as Hellcat next year. I'm excited to see her. I thought it was a great little setup of, hits the phone and then catches her with her foot, and she just kind of has like a small smile when the elevator door is closing, so I think she's going to be phenomenal. She really brings in the action scenes too. She has intensity, so I know it's going to be in Jones 3, but I honestly could have taken a Hellcat TV show, and I think if she's leading, it's fine. I don't want them to split up, but like I think she is gonna do great as if she is like a Punisher type, like where hey, Jessica has to go stop her. I don't think she'll be killing people. I don't think she's gonna be crazy. I think she'll just be a regular vigilante. I think maybe she'll get tied up into something, and that's how Jones will. I don't know, but I'm very excited for her to get that kind of platform to be a superhero. I don't know if we get the costume because the costume's kind of cheesy. I'll look it up while you're talking to show you. But
I'm curious. I don't think I've seen it.
Kind of a cheesy costume. It's a very 80s, 70s costume.
Oh, they could, update it.
And shout out to the Wizard. He is a Marvel character from the 1940s.
Who I thought was the Wizard for an amount of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Good old Wizard. We'll talk about him. No, I agree. I think you nailed it. I don't know, maybe quickly. I kind of forgot about him, to be honest, but I think you nailed it there, everything. One aspect that I really liked about that character is that I'm taking a look at Hellcat. Wow, I think that might be a bit too much orange for one TV show.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that.
Or yellow.
Audio, you can listen up. Cool costume, though. I like it in the comic book world, but I don't know if
she also doesn't have that strong red hair that character seems to have.
Well, season 3, things are changing.
Different hair colors. One aspect I think is really fun that they play on is how Trish is kind of wanting more and more power, and it becomes like a physical power, right? The ability to get shit done or stop people that normally she would need to rely on Jessica Jones for. I don't know why I used her full name there. It kind of makes it seem impersonal.
Jessica Jones?
Jessica Jones.
I've done that a lot already.
Because I think from her perspective, she would just refer to her as Jessica, so it just seems a bit odd. And then obviously Jessica, what she lacks that Trish has is kind of this like love from people in general, like just, fans, people like her, whereas Jessica's, she's kind of, snotty to people or mean or
kind of.
Yeah, so people aren't a big fan of her, but then she also kind of has, family love, and we see that she has that guy that, loves her, which she, had at one point with Sterling, but is kind of long since passed. So I think there's a fun dynamic that they're both kind of looking for a quality that the other one has.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that which ultimately leads to them splitting up and not being on each other's team anymore, even though all they've been through and that they are essentially sisters, even though they're not biological sisters. So yeah, I think that is really fun. And so when I was talking to Travis just as I was watching the show, I wasn't a big fan of her character at the start just because I thought it was kind of, by the books, it was a little bit boring. She was kind of just doing some detective stuff and it was like cool and all, but then, when the junkie kind of storyline starts, I think that's really just shows like how strong that actress is and like the lengths she can really reach. And I think she kind of goes back and forth throughout the show and really shows that like throughout the whole thing she's really captivating in whatever her pursuit is, and she really has quite the story. It's kind of like if Jessica's obviously like focused on story in the first season. I guess this season it's the same sort of thing, but it feels like a more 50-50 split between them at times as opposed to season 1. Obviously it's like all about Jessica and there's like a few things on Trish and what's going on with her. But I like her breakdown from like just like kind of quitting the show live on air and having that huge breakdown, then being brought in to test for that dream job that she had, and she
Which
just
is a weird
completely
dream
fucks
job,
it
because
up.
they just wanted her to yell the whole time, I guess.
Yeah, they just wanted her to be like really angry.
I said it reminded me of that Black Mirror episode with Daniel Kaluuya. I think you may have seen it, but the one where
the Million Merits one.
What?
Isn't that the one with Daniel Kaluuya?
I don't know. I can't remember the name. But when he has that moment where he has the glass, like spoiled for Black Mirror season 1, but when he has the glass bits and then they make him do that show every day.
Yeah.
That's what reminded me when they're just like, you gotta be like more in. It's like, what do you want her just to keep yelling about all this stuff? But hey, maybe we should do that podcast.
I guess they yell at someone different than the 12 Barbies that they have backstage or whatever. That guy was very derogatory towards his female talent.
I did appreciate that she had to do the "It's Patsy" song at the very first episode, and she dressed
pretty funny.
I was at first I was like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, and then I liked her stuff with Malcolm enough. I felt it was really quick because I didn't get any sense that he had any attraction to her in season 1. And then all of a sudden Joan's like, oh yeah, he has a big thing for you. It's like, oh, does he? Like,
I guess there's maybe a couple hints as a viewer, but still, she was the one who really tipped me off on that one. I didn't really pick it up myself.
I picked it up at the beginning of the show. I really felt, because they put a lot of scenes with them together. So okay, this is going to be a thing. I thought it was good enough, and I guess maybe that'll lead to some places in season 3, but I don't know if it was needed. I think Malcolm could have still just been a friend and been worried about Trish and everything like that. I don't think they need to sleep together for him to be after, because I feel like their thing as a couple was a couple episodes, and then they were split off.
Quite short.
So I don't know if it was needed. We'll see in season 3, but I could have took them just still being friends, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I maybe wanted to see more of that because I wasn't enjoying it. But you're right. It doesn't really feel like it gets.
I want to see more, but I wasn't enjoying it.
I was enjoying it.
Oh, you were? Oh, okay. I thought you said you
maybe I threw an N and a T on there. I don't really know. But no, I was enjoying it. I kind of wanted to see more of it, or maybe she could have gotten to a point where she convinced him that what her plan was with Carl. I mean, I can't really picture a world where Malcolm would have been okay with her getting this experiment done on her. But I don't know. I guess I wanted to see more of those two. So maybe I'm a bit disappointed in that regard. But I still liked seeing that pair up because honestly, I can't remember like a single scene of those two together in the first season. Like, did they interact?
Sure, it happened once or twice, but not in a big way. Because he was a junkie for the first half of the season. Remember?
He sure was.
Yeah.
Great story.
The only thing I'll say with Malcolm, because I'll give you, because you liked him a lot more. I like him about the same. I like the storyline. I'm actually gonna be more interested in him next year because I like the setup of he's kind of working with the bad guys, but not like he'll be just on the opposing team, right? So I like that. I hope they'll do more with that than like what they've done with Foggy joining Hogarth, because nothing's really.
Well, they have that scene too at the end where Jessica's in her office sitting at her computer and she like glances over at his old desk and just some very dramatic music playing, and maybe hints at like maybe she'll want to team up with them, even though when they walk past each other in the hall, it's very cold. Very cold.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I'm more interested to see where he's gonna go. I think I did like him more than last season, but I think that's just because we got so little of him for a while, and also he was paired with that fucking annoying neighbor. I don't know if you remember her. The girl whose brother dies. Yeah, which thank God she did not come back. Yeah. So that's why I definitely enjoy what he was doing more. I like the character. I like the actor. The only thing as like a negative is he took a puff of that thing and it really went nowhere. Because she said, like, oh, it'll heal you, and then he ran and everything, and then he just kind of recovered from it and didn't have any addiction problems, which he is an addict. He is an addict.
He's been known,
yeah, I thought that was going to be his moment where he turned it away. And the only other thing, too, I'll say is I didn't buy the whole he's addicted to sleeping with people because, like, he swapped one addiction for another. I guess he kind of did.
I honestly didn't pick that up at all.
No.
I didn't realize that was a thing that they were going for.
Not at all. I felt like he was just casually dating people and just like sleeping around. And I thought that was point like, oh, he's just with these girls, but like he really likes Trish. So that's the thing, like I got that.
Instead of Tinder, they were on Teaser.
But I don't know who pointed that to Jessica. Someone was just like, oh yeah, like, oh, I think it was Kilgrave swapping one dish for another. And then she said, like, instead of sticking a needle, you're sticking your digging things. I didn't buy that at all. That was just that.
I guess I didn't notice that at all. That was a storyline they were trying to develop.
I thought they had enough tension between him and Jessica that they didn't need another thing for him to throw at, or her to throw at him. So
that's true.
Kind of weird, but that's all I have on Malcolm. I liked him, and
I don't think he ever really is on a character level that reaches like season 1 kind of thing. I just liked him a lot more than I did in season 1. Like I said, a character that I would have been happy if they removed him from season 1. I'm now glad that they didn't, and I'm curious. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what they do with the storyline. Yeah. With him teaming up with. I mean, I'm not really a fan of Price Chang, I think his name is, but I don't know. I guess it's cool that Malcolm. I actually, you know what? I'm not super excited because I don't like that storyline. I don't like that storyline of that character. It felt really unnecessary. So I kind of hope they hit him with the Simpson treatment and kill Price Chang in the first couple episodes, and then Malcolm goes off and does his own thing.
What if they kill Malcolm?
Oh God! Please.
And then Price Chain is the new
Price Chain.
Is the new
Price changer.
Yeah. Who else have we not talked about? I know there's one big thing we haven't talked about, but I'm trying to save him to the last thing before we get into it.
What is the big thing?
I don't know. Maybe a certain British fellow.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Is there anything? I'm trying to think. Yeah. No. There's Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah.
He was on the bus and the taxis as well. He was on the same ad was on top of some taxis.
Oh, really?
Well, so
Okay, I didn't notice that.
I don't understand why they, especially in Defenders, why he just has not physically appeared. It's kind of frustrating to me. I wonder if it's they shoot somewhere and he can't like physically travel. Maybe that's it. But like, especially in Defenders, like why has he not like showed up at all? Like it's just a little thing, you know. I'd like him to show up, but it's fine.
I don't know. That's the thing where like I don't really think we'll get crossovers. Is there seems to be like this pretty big divide, like a line in the sand between hey, I know I'm Kevin Feige and I think it's great what you guys do over there, but like you know your place, okay? You're not getting Stan Lee.
Yeah, you're the kids.
Yeah, we'll send you a picture. We'll even be so kind to put him in front of a green screen so you can very easy crop him wherever you want. But you ain't getting him.
You want Hawkeye?
Person.
No. But we'll let you mention the raft. Okay, we'll take it. And we're gonna give you the Fantastic Four.
The Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
No Doctor Doom though. Just the four. Oh, okay. Here's one thing actually. So Trish's boyfriend.
The British guy.
I'm a little bit confused because there's a couple. Like I was kind of getting some feelings on that he was like a little bit sus. There was something going on.
He was.
Yeah, like there is a couple scenes where he's like talking on the phone to people. Is that just him planning?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that had to be it because like they don't go into it at all. But I was a little bit confused what happened to that storyline because I don't know. It just didn't really make sense to me. I guess that him like being all secretive was him just planning that proposal. I guess it makes sense.
It does make sense. I think if you were planning a secret proposal, have you ever planned a secret proposal?
No.
No. So I think you gotta probably sneak around and whatnot. But
I guess so.
I thought that could happen. The problem with that character, I thought everything about him. Like, he's gonna die, he's proposing, he's shady. The one thing that, and I was right about almost all of them, except for him dying. The other thing I was not right about, I was really worried he's gonna be like Kilgrave's brother or something, just because he was British. Because when he was British, and then when he's doing the shady stuff, I'm like, oh no, like, he's definitely gonna be Kilgrave's brother. And like, I don't know if we need that with Jessica's mom running around too, but...
What would his superpower be if he was Kilgrave's brother? He'd have the ability to control the minds of animals.
Paint. Oscar's also Kilgrave's brother.
Oh man.
And Vitos is Kilgrave resurrected.
The kid?
Yeah.
I think you change his name every time you say it.
Vitos Jr. Little Vitos. Yeah, no, I don't know if I have anything else.
One thing I really love that scene after Trisha's mom like breaks in the hospital room and like pretty much tries to kill Trish, and then Jessica saves her. Like that scene after when they move Trish down to like the morgue for whatever reason, and Jessica goes down there to talk to her. I just that scene in particular really stuck out to me as those two have like playing off each other really well and just like really solid dialogue. So I wanted to bring up that. The other thing that I can't like they obviously had like the music or like her theme in the first season, but I feel like I don't know, maybe it was just more noticeable this time around. Maybe I'm more used to it or something, but it really stood out and like a few times, just kind of like that jazzy, really light drums and like the trumpet kind of. It sounded really nice. I really liked it, and I think I was wanting them to use it more, and they did use it quite a bit in the last couple episodes. And
yeah,
I like it. It's a fitting theme. It kind of fits that vibe of her being like a private investigator. Like it really fits the theme of the show and kind of the colors, and obviously they have like a lot of those camera shots that just is like the perspective of like her and her camera, doing some incognito shots or whatever. So I like from that point of view. I like the show, like cinematography and cinematography as long like effects were pretty good as well. I didn't like the wizard, like him moving around looked really bad. And it's funny. I went on like Reddit or something, and there was like a Jessica Jones thing, so I clicked on it, and there was somewhere in the comments people were talking about like just like super fast characters and how those effects have been done before, and there was like a link to like a Smallville episode, and I've never watched that show, but there was like I think it must have been The Flash, and it was just like 100 times worse than the Wizard. It was really bad. It was really funny. I think it's worth a Google, but
Flash was pretty good on his show. Like on the Flash TV show, he was pretty good.
Maybe you should watch it again.
No, The Flash on his own
Flash
TV show. That was not Flash. He was not on Smallville.
Really?
I think. But I never watched.
It was like red. It was like a red blur moving.
Okay.
I assumed it was The Flash.
I'm not a Superman fan, so I don't watch this shit.
No, I don't either. What was I?
No Smallville retrospective coming your way. The Wizard.
Unfortunately not. I feel like I had some. Oh yeah, so the Wizard just in general, like. I feel like they spend a lot of time talking about like how impossible it is to like knock over scaffold, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like anyone, I don't know. I didn't like that whole story. It's because I was not into the show at all. So the effects didn't help. He like zips past her and she like turns like really dramatically and tries to, and he's like not even running that fast. She's like running the same speed as him.
Well, the other thing I don't know if it was in relation to the Wizard, but it was that or around those few episodes where someone had brought was it that too? Yeah, okay, no, maybe it was that. Jessica Jones had heard about the healer, and she's like, there's no person that can heal people. Okay, like we said, the connectivity's not always there, but they have admitted they live in a world where fucking aliens came down and tried to invade the planet and take it over, and I'm sick and tired of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. I'm sick and tired of
characters. Oh, you have a magic hand? I don't believe you. What are you talking about, man? How do you not believe that he's a magic hand? You literally have skin impenetrable to bullets.
Bullets don't kill you. Like, I hate, especially those characters. It's this pet peeve that happened in Cage, it happened in Defenders, it happened in, especially Joan. She's smart enough for her to be like, there's no person that can heal somebody. There's a fucking man who turns into a green monster. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, have you not looked at Vision? Do you not see Thor? Like, I get it. They even say, do you know Captain America?
Yeah.
Captain America was frozen in the fucking World War II, and he's back. Like, are you kidding me?
Have you not seen the movies?
Yeah. I'm sick and tired of this shit happening. I'm gonna call it out as my biggest pet peeve. Marvel, DC, Image Comics. I don't care what the thing is.
It really only seems to be an issue in the TV shows.
Yeah, I
think it's because they try to make that separation of like these are more realistic.
Yeah.
Once again, as well, I don't fully understand Jessica Jones' ability to fly / super jump.
It's just a long jump.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes she just could eat. Like there was that one scene where who was it? Someone was escaping. Oh yeah, okay. There was the scene when Trish, she had like thrown Malcolm into her trunk. Malcolm gets out, but Trish hops in the car with Carl, and they drive away. And Jessica Jones like chasing them, but then they like get out of the parking garage and like get away. It's like, why don't you just jump at them? You can do that, and that's where I'm still don't understand her powers fully, and that to me feels like a problem.
We didn't learn about that. We learned about everything else.
I want to know how high she can jump, or how far she can jump, or if she can fly. I don't know.
Nope, not gonna happen. No. Anything else?
Well, I mean, I guess we can talk about.
Good old Kilgrave.
K.
So, I don't know how I feel about this. So, I was very excited when they had announced that he was coming back. They released those photos. I was like, okay, this is great. And I thought it was a perfect bridge. Because I did think he was going to be the Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, Cricket sort of thing. The problem was, once we got to episode like 6 or 7, I'm like, oh man.
Where is he?
Yeah.
I definitely forgot about him as well.
And that's the thing where I think what they did with him was great, but we did not get enough time with him. I think it came at a vital part of, okay, she killed somebody, I get it, because last person she killed was Kilgrave, and she felt a little guilty about that. But maybe they could have done that.
A little guilty. Clearly had quite an effect on her.
Yeah. Like, maybe they could have done that earlier. I don't know. It just felt like, I don't know if this was the best way to bring him back. If they were going to bring him, I don't know, because I wouldn't take the episode out, but this reminds me very, very much, and I hate to say it again, but it reminds me very much of Dexter. I don't know if you remember, but it was a religious season, the season 6, and it's when they brought Biney back for an episode. Brian Moser, like his brother, the Ice Truck Killer.
Oh, right.
Do you remember one episode he started having hallucinations, and instead of seeing Harry, he was seeing Brian? Because it was
I don't remember that, but I believe you.
Fantastic episode. They go on a road trip together. They do a bunch of crazy shit. But it felt like junk food, and that's what this did, where, yeah, it was really good in the moment, but it didn't have too much impact. I still feel like Jessica Jones was not going to make that choice of killing Carl, and she didn't. I just feel that it was really cool. I don't know if they literally wrote that and it's, hey, it's a dark episode, we want him to come back, or if it was like, hey, we wanted him for more, we couldn't get him for more, hey, David's around, he's free. I don't know what it is, and if it was just, I'm going to take it and take them at their word that this was how they wrote it, they just wrote one episode. It was fun. I like it. It's probably one of my favorite episodes seasons just because I love their dynamic. Yeah. Anytime he's on screen is great. He's just so charismatic.
And the two of them are so good together.
Yeah, and like anytime he's just saying stuff or he's just laying on the bed, he's fantastic. I still think they made a big mistake killing him. They could have found a way to lock him up and brought him back. But it didn't have too much. It just felt like another detour flashback episode of this is the Kilgrave episode where I think if you would have sprinkled even that same amount, but sprinkled that in multiple episodes would have felt more natural instead of all in one episode and then he's gone. Yeah. And clearly before he's coming back because he's like, oh, when you need me, I'll be around. So just anytime Jessica Jones is like having a really...
It's like Madame Web.
When she's... No! No more games, Madame Web! Go check out the Spider-Man Retro on Patreon and we'll come back. But I feel like now it's like anytime she's feeling a little guilty, Kilgrave's gonna come back. And
every
really,
time she accidentally kills someone.
Really, I just want him to be back in general. And it's just like this episode. If he's always gonna come back like this, it's like okay, I will take it, but there's not much need for it. He died. Maybe we should just let him die.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is like the ending of that storyline or him going away. It didn't really feel like it had an ending. It kind of just. They forgot about him.
I'll be here when you need me.
He was off filming Doctor Who season 5 or whatever.
He's on Doctor Who.
Wasn't he a Doctor Who?
He was, but that was like 10 years ago.
That's the only thing I know him from, so I'm just making a joke, Travis.
Harry Potter? Harry Potter?
Who was he in Harry
Potter?
He
played some fucking weird named guy in that.
Was he a big character?
No, he's kind of minor, but he's in multiple movies. He's a bad guy. He has long hair.
Huh. I do not remember that.
I don't know.
Anyway, I haven't watched those movies in a cool minute.
Yeah.
Oh, also, someone in the show said, do that in a hot second, and I was pretty, I
bet they got it from our show.
They've probably been watching GeekVerse. Shout out to them. Yeah, no, the ending of it felt a little, I guess, unjustified, but I think it made sense, and I like where they decided to include it, and I think it did make sense for the character that she would maybe have these flashbacks, but once again, it didn't really feel like it was totally purposeful or that it needed to be there. I think you could have done the same thing with her, like, just having voices of her own, like, her own voice, and she's just like kind of going crazy or kind of second guessing herself, or you could have even just had his voice. Like you don't really need him on screen, but you know obviously I was a big fan of him in season 1. He's one of the best, maybe the best. Come on, who's texting me at this hour? Maybe the best like villain we've had in the Marvel. Oscar, why do you keep bringing this guy up, man? You like this character a lot.
No, I don't. Your teaser app's blown up.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they're playing off of what, like I said earlier, right? You love this guy. Remember how much you like this guy? He's back. You love the show, and
he's back. You love the show.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
And it leaves me a bit. I kind of forgot that he was in the show, or like when I was watching it, I wasn't like anxiously waiting for him to show up. I kind of have that. I feel like when I'm watching movies, I forget like what happens in the trailers or announcements or
the whole time. I'm like, where's Kilgrave? Where
every
is
second?
He? Every
second, you're like, man, Kilgrave really would have spiced this scene up.
I gave them till episode, I think it's 5 or 6. They were with how they review the Netflix shows. They give them the first 5 or 6 episodes. So I'm like, okay, by time 7, he's gonna come because they didn't maybe want to spoil it. They didn't want him in the those reviews. So like, I'll give them episode 7. I mean, he's not in there, and then he would pop up until like episode 10, and I was like, fuck, he's only around for 1 episode.
Yeah,
and
he is really fun. I think that was a really interesting, I guess, point for the Jessica Jones character, because that once again is something where she has to do something different than, I guess, that we've seen in this season. We obviously saw a lot of this. This is throwback to season 1. But yeah, just her kind of going crazy, and Malcolm's kind of walking with her. He doesn't know what's going on, and she's like walking one direction, but then she just gets sidetracked, just turn back to the other direction, is choking some random guy in the street. I thought that was really fun, really well done. But obviously it was kind of just like a little hint of, I guess, playing on that character again. And I mean, I don't think we obviously don't need Kilgrave again, but he's certainly welcome.
I don't know after this season if you can say that though. I don't know.
We obviously had a whole season of him, and it was phenomenal. And I love having him around, but I feel like they should do it with purpose as opposed to just a reminder of something they've done before.
I'll take the hand coming back, but that means they can resurrect Kilgrave. You know, I just like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an idea.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's $1 million idea, Feige. Hire this guy.
Feige, yeah. Fuck you. We're not giving you Stan Lee
He wouldn't touch the Netflix shows.
Yeah.
That was a football.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Because here's the thing. So let's say Kilgrave next season, let's say he is just dead. Would you want another... Do you want him to come back like this again?
As Force Ghost?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want it as just like a one-off episode for like what feels like just like a half an episode thing. Like make it... You know what? No, I don't know. I think they should... I think they need to move on from Kilgrave and make a solid villain. Make a villain who is consistently a villain. You know, obviously you can have points where they're maybe crossing the line, maybe they're kind of a good guy, but go back and just build a villain from the start. You don't even have to tie it to her backstory. I think we've had a lot of her backstory now. I think we have all that we need. Yeah, you can have a flashback here or there.
Your father's alive.
Yeah, please don't. Or your brother, he was here all along. You're right. Yeah.
Where was he?
I don't know. I wanted to see a fully fledged villain again.
I think that's my problem, though, that I don't want to see him either. And I still felt like Kilgrave was a character where you could do a kind of dream sequence sort of Force Ghost episode.
It works because he gets in your head.
Yeah, but I think that's my problem is they kind of blew their load. And if this is it...
They didn't share the load.
No, they blew it.
That's
my problem with it. If this is how this is how we kind of get Kilgrave, that's my problem, because I think, especially when we talked about how there was a weak villain, if you could have had him sprinkled in from, let's say, episode 8 to about 10 or 11, I think that would have bridged those moments where Jessica's mom was in the middle of being in prison, or maybe working with, trying to work with Jessica to help her, because you could have had him as an opposing force, just in her mind. I'm not saying bring him back, but just in her mind.
I think you would have needed more reason than just her killing that cop.
Yeah.
I think you wouldn't need more there, because, well, that did, I guess it was an accident for her to kill that guy. He still was just, some random dude, he wasn't really a character.
He was a bad guy.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah,
and
he makes people commit suicide.
I mean, he was being really shitty to her
Dexter,
mom, obviously.
Dexter motive, right?
But I think if that's to stick around for multiple episodes, her having those visions, I think you would need a little bit more there. And it doesn't have to be her killing a bunch of people or killing someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the answer would be.
But that's my problem, because I feel like, okay, she kills Kilgrave, and I do feel like he's the type of villain that does stick around your head and mess with you. And then, I said,
a big past.
And that's where I feel like that's why I thought bringing him back would be a great idea to bridge the gap where, okay, we are going to miss Kilgrave, but he'll be sprinkled throughout the season, and then this will be the final goodbye, hey, I'm done with you, I'm not going to be you, I'm not a killer, or anything like that. But the fact of it was just this one episode thing, and like I said, when he says that line, whenever you need me, I'll be here, I feel like it's always going to come back. And I guess my hope is, if it does come back. And my hope is it kind of doesn't come back, even though I love seeing him do his thing, so I'm not going to complain. But if it does come back, I just hope it's a bit more purpose. I don't want him to come back for these one-episode seasons where, like I said, she just happens to be down now. I want it to be a purpose, even if, like you said, you don't want it tied to anything past. But if it is, then make it somehow it's tied to Kilgrave, or the people that
that's obviously
on
a reason or an explanation for how you can explain or want to talk about something in her past that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, because I think you only get the Jessica's in such a dark place she's seeing Kilgrave, to me, only once. I can't buy a character always doing that. I can't, because I feel like...
Especially if we're supposed to feel at the end of this season that she has made a jump, or
she's trying to make
she's
the
developed.
Jump.
She's changed.
So yeah, it was good to see him. I know we just put him down. There were fun scenes, and I liked the episode because he was back, but...
It's just, the thing is, even the positives in this show do feel hampered down by the weight of, the other filler and the the other aspects of the show that kind of bogged it down.
Yeah.
And made it sort of a slog to get through.
Yeah. No, that was a perfect way to put it. I don't know if I have much of a final thoughts, because I've said a lot of stuff. Yeah. I know I'm pretty negative on the show, but there is some good stuff. If you like these characters, like the main character from season 1, unless you're a big Simpson fan, you're gonna like this show.
We could just write down lists and lists of all the great quotes that Jessica Jones has and how good she is at delivering them.
So many good one-liners.
But it's easier to criticize things. So that's what we do here.
Some good development.
Hey, I'm a long lost optimist. I just criticize everything now. Apparently,
the long lost criticizer.
Okay.
There's some.
I'm not gonna use that nickname.
There's some good stuff. There's some good moments, but overall, I think, like he said, all the good stuff is kind of shrouded by negative stuff or poor stuff or honestly just boring stuff. And this was close to me with Iron Fist and near the end of Luke Cage, where it did feel like, and Luke Cage I did actually really overall like, but it was just, it felt a little slow. Luke Cage for me was kind of like, okay, near the end it got a little slow. Iron Fist I can't remember.
Honestly, I feel like I think this show actually has the worst pacing for me.
Yeah.
But I think the decisions made in Luke Cage, you know, particularly with the villain or Iron Fist, I mean, it had a whole hamper of problems. But I think those shows actually had better, I would say, better pacing than this one. So.
Oh yeah, I think this is a very strangely paced show, and I
don't even think it's because of a lack of action, because I didn't find myself at any point really. Man, I really wish I could see Jessica Jones like punch some dudes right now.
No,
I don't think that's really part of it.
I don't get that from Jessica Jones, because their fight scenes aren't even that good anyway. No. So
she just picks up tables and fridges and throws them around.
Yeah, I'm somewhere wherever Iron Fist season was. I was either like a 6, a 6.5. I think I'm somewhere in there. It's on a pretty similar level to me. And I defended Iron Fist a lot, but I think that's just because I heard so much negative going in, where this was, I heard some positive, but I just expected a bit more, even though I was expecting to be disappointed, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I thought we'd get a little bit more, and for me, I'm looking forward to season 3, because they introduced some potential cool storylines or some things to explore, but I'm definitely not going to be, super stoked about it. Like, I can't wait to watch it. And Dylan asked me before we went on air, he's like, did you watch this twice? I was like, no, sirree. Even Iron Fist, I had fucking
I would have applauded
David and Moore and Meacham.
If you had watched this twice. That would be quite difficult.
Yeah.
Quite difficult.
I had the Meachams to get me through Iron Fist, but with this, not so much. So, yeah, big disappointment for me with this one. Hopefully Luke Cage is coming out in June. I hope that is a great show, and
I think for my final thoughts, it's hard for me to rank these Marvel shows, because I still kind of in my head put Luke Cage and Iron Fist like in the same category or tier or level, because while they do have positives, they also have a lot of cons and issues that just make me not like the show. Defenders is a tricky one, because it's one of those things where it was very disappointing as that big team up, and you expect so much from it, and then it just had some really why is this villain so bad, or why is this feel so low budget? These are things that I don't know where I'd put Defenders either. I'd probably put it in the same tier, and unfortunately, Jessica Jones season 2, maybe I'd put it a bit higher, but honestly not by much.
For Defenders, I just don't get
it. There's a lot of problems with that show, man. Go watch our review. I gotta watch our review.
I was positive on the review.
I don't know. I think I was probably positive about some things, but I think with Jessica Jones season 2, I think I would slide it in there with Iron Fist and Luke Cage in that level. They're all kind of similarly in that realm of, there is some fun stuff here and some things that I'm sure I'll remember fondly, but ultimately they're kind of bogged down by some poor choices. In this show particularly, bad pacing. Doesn't get me super stoked for Jessica Jones season 3. I hope they kind of take it a different direction. I think they will. I think if they were maybe holding off from doing another big villain, or a more traditional villain, because of the success of Kilgrave and wanting to separate from that, I think they have done that with this season, and now they can go back to something like that and push the story forward.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious actually to see what happens with Trish. And
that's the thing that keeps me going. Yeah, that's thinking of that costume.
Devil of Hell's Kitchen versus Hellcat. Coming to theaters, and
Matt's dead. Remember, he's no Daredevil season 3,
except for his mom who's reviving him or something. I don't really know.
That sounds dirty.
Was there a post credits thing? I don't think I.
If there was, I didn't see it. Well, I don't think so. I think I saw the interwebs
online.
Yeah. Well, Delmos, where could they find all our previous Netflix reviews and all the reviews we got coming up?
Well, there's a lot of places. I mean, the key place if you want to keep in the loop on the new stuff, and we'll share teasers for the upcoming shows, is on our Facebook page. That's where you can get all of the latest scoops. But if you want to check out our previous episodes, you can do it on YouTube if you want to look at us talk about these things. But if you don't want to look at us as we talk about these things, SoundCloud is a cool place to be. iTunes, Stitcher Radio for the Android fans. The Google Play Store. Bunch of other websites that we don't actually put our stuff on, but they end up there anyway. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
I'm not an internet guru.
But we thank you for spreading
Twitter
our podcast.
pops off.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said... what I meant to say is Travis pops off on the Twitter.
Twitter pops off on Travis.
A lot of big scoops head over to That's GeekVerse Cast. Everywhere else is GeekVerse.
I don't actually drop any scoops, unfortunately, but maybe one day.
If we are to get a scoop ever, you will find it on the Twitter,
100,
and the Facebook, and
100%.
You can also check out our website, geekversepodcast.com. That's a pretty fun place to be. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. If you check out any of those podcast ones, I think on the news one we will explain. We may have some ads popping up here and there. I know people are not the biggest fan of ads, but you know what? They help keep these lights on. They help keep that camera going. Yes. They help anything, and you know what? That just helps us spread the shows. It helps us create content, everything like that. So we're not doing it just to be assholes. We're doing it, so we can get a apple for the crew and keep us fed, because we need to be fed. I don't know. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Yes, thank you so much.
Newscast next week.
It'll be a fun one. It'll be a fun one.
Double the GeekVerse, double the fun.
G, triple the V.
And it won't be boring. Thank you very much for tuning in.
See you next time. See you in a hot second, as that one random character would have said.